Good evening, I'm Jacob Reimer. The top-ranked Ohio State football team is set to square off with Michigan in another edition of The Game on Saturday. Kickoff is at noon, and coverage can be found right here on The Fan Saturday morning, starting at 6:30. The Ohio State women's basketball team edged out a tight win over number 21 West Virginia, 83-81, taking the title at the Baha Mar Pink Flamingo Championship in the Bahamas. Elsa Lemula's basket in the final seconds helped lift Ohio State to the win. Jelani Cambridge led the way with 22 points. And in the NHL, the Columbus Blue Jackets return to home ice tonight as they host the Toronto Maple Leafs. Face-off from Nationwide Arena is at 7 o'clock. This update sponsored by Green & Sons, family-owned and operated for over 45 years. Find your next Kubota tractor at Green & Sons, located in Mount Sterling and north of Marysville in Raymond. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It up for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Oh! Graham Rucker for the touchdown. Kraft shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
Off and rolling here on a Wednesday. I'm Brandon Beam hanging out with my guy, A-Ward Sports, Austin Ward. Austin, happy... Not Thanksgiving yet, but happy almost Thanksgiving. What's going on, buddy? Good to talk to you.
Happy Thanksgiving Eve to you, Beamer. That's a common thing, right, to call it that?
Yeah, I think it's called something else maybe if you go to your local watering holes. But yes, Thanksgiving Eve does work.
Well, and it's also halfway to the game. So Buckeyes with another practice on Wednesday evening. Ryan Day with more lightning round updates. Buckeyes captains talking. Not a ton of news, as you might expect. Not a lot of trash talk bulletin board coming for the Buckeyes, but we did get some Fast and Furious references from Ryan Day on Tuesday, which was good enough for me.
All right. I've seen 2 or 3 of the Fast and Furiouses, and then I was out after Tokyo Drift.
Well, then you've missed all the best Fast and Furii.
The one where they go, is that the plural of it?
I don't know what the plural is, but I am.
What about the one when they go to space?
Yeah, elite. I mean... That tells you how far the franchise has come since Tokyo, that now you're taking Fieros into space and saving the world. It's remarkable, but it's significant. If Ryan Day is living his life a quarter mile at a time on Saturday, then the Buckeyes are going to win.
Yeah.
No doubt.
What are you most interested in? And as of right now, Austin, you're actually time traveling, portal hopping. You're not even here right now. You were over at the Woody. You're talking to players. What are you most interested to gather from them tonight? Again, it's a weird week. I know that Ryan Day was talking about it a little bit earlier on his radio show, but he's trying to keep everything as normal as possible this week. And even this tonight is very weird because usually you guys would have been in the Woody yesterday. They would have set up their shop. They would have had practice today, and then everyone would have gotten out of there. But he wants to keep it as normal as possible. I feel like this is kind of the latest that they have stayed into Thanksgiving week. So whatever's been working or not working the last couple of years, Ryan Day decides that he wants to keep everything basically status quo here this week.
Well, hopefully you revealing that fact means that I didn't just jinx it by talking about no bulletin board material, no trash talk from the captains. I don't expect that. I don't expect any major injury updates. So that is why we have set up this version of the Buckeye Show the way that we have. We have to ask about Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate at this point. I think we've gotten more insight actually this week than we have in any of this last 3 weeks saga going on with the Ohio State wide receivers, or even Lorenzo Styles with the shoulder issue. That's, to my knowledge, a carryover, something he's been dealing with 2 months, and not something that Ohio State can get repaired or that Lorenzo can get repaired in the middle of the year. He's just going to have to play through that pain, and sometimes it's going to knock him out for a series or a play. And after that happened last week against Rutgers, they elected not to take any more risks and treat that conservatively and cautiously to prepare for the big house. So I think, just the pulse of this team, the mentality of this team, Brandon Ennis has already talked over the last couple of weeks, but he is available on Wednesday night, and I'm sure he's going to be asked again about his conversation about how Ryan Day's look in his eye has changed since that loss a year ago, since the meeting a couple days after the loss, preparing for the playoff run and everything that goes into that. So it's, we're not going to hear X's and O's. We're not going to hear updates from the team. And frankly, you don't need them at this point in the week. But I do think there's some value to Ohio State not treating it more seriously than it needs to be. They understand the stakes. They understand the emotion. But the way they've done in the past, which you mentioned, is that some years we've been done by Monday, and then you just have the biggest game of the year, and everything after that is like shut down and holidays and
10 a.m. update on the availability report.
Yeah, and like
the walls go up.
It disappears and the walls go up. And I don't know if that's necessarily good, bad, and different. We're going to find out if this approach works better on Saturday or not, but it has been working consistently. And if they are going to chop wood and carry water, as Ryan Day has said all year, we'll do it the same way that you have to prepare for the last regular season game as well.
Absolutely. What have you gained knowledge, information on the availability of Carnell Tate or Jeremiah Smith in a real and/or situation? Because to me, what I heard Ryan Day talk about yesterday, and again, this is my thoughts here, that it seems that Jeremiah is going to play. He even said it on Caleb Downs' podcast. So take that with a grain of salt. Player said he's going to play. And then Carnell Tate is trying to work himself back as hard as physically possible to be on that field up in Ann Arbor across noon on Saturday. That is my understanding of the situation.
Yeah, and you can take Jeremiah Smith at his word. That's the way I understand it. Mm-hmm. That's the way that Ohio State is proceeding throughout this week. Anything can happen in terms of setbacks. I've tried to make that point with you, Beamer, on the Buckeye Show for the last couple of weeks.
Of course, we have no clue what practice looks like.
Everyone is day to day. There can be setbacks just because as we left the Woody on Tuesday, Jeremiah Smith, I'd say, absolute certainty to play. And he has indicated that himself publicly, which is helpful. I wouldn't make any sort of sweeping declaration or prediction about Carnell Tate. When you're dealing with these muscle injuries, those setbacks can happen. The risk of further aggravation or exacerbating the injury is real. So, we'll see how the week plays out. There's one more practice left. There's walkthroughs on Friday. There's still time to get closer to 100% if he's not quite there already. And really nobody is at this time of year. And you don't expect to be when you're going into the game and you are playing for Gold Pants. It's cold. It's nasty. The forecast is getting worse. No one's going to feel 100%. Are you good enough to play? And how much can you give to Ohio State? Jeremiah, I know, is highly motivated to make up for what happened a year ago. He buys in fully to the rivalry. I'd be stunned if he doesn't play. I would be mildly surprised if Carnell Tate does not play.
Okay.
But he is on track to get out there. So that has changed even from the last couple weeks.
I feel like that, too. I mean, just having those two guys out there, right? Like, we know the security blanket that he provides for their quarterback in Julian Sand, but just from a defensive, schematic situation, and even if Carnell Tate is not at 100% or Jeremiah Smith is not at 100%, having those two guys out there and the threat that they possess, even the idea of them being on the field, is such a big deal for Julian Sand, for this offensive line, really for this entire team, because if they're out there, you are going to have to either double team, triple team, do something to bracket those guys, which even if they're decoys, and I know if they're playing in the game, they're not going to be treated as decoys, then it opens up your offense to what we saw it be, a month or so ago.
Imagine if you did treat it that way. Like you're in Wink Martindale's shoes, Beamer. You're like, I don't believe it. They're not full.
You're going to go, Jim.
I'm going to go man to man over here. I'm going to go one-on-one. You want to find out? I believe there's some terminology for that too.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be me. I wouldn't want to.
No.
I wouldn't want to mess around and have something to pop on me deep with Jeremiah, just because even at 75%,
he's still better than
everyone else in the country.
Yeah, he sure is. Outside of that, right? Outside of the Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate situation, to you, where do you come down on the mindset of this team, the mental psyche? We've been here before. They've been knocking on the door, right? And it's been the one thing. That's what I'm fascinated to look at on Saturday, because we all saw the look in Ryan Day's eyes before the national championship game, and they got past Tennessee in the playoffs last year, no problem. And then we saw this team that was shot out of a cannon, and the look in Ryan Day's eye, I feel like, has been different since they were holding up that national championship trophy. But again, 364 more days to go until Michigan. You are right back to where you were last year at this point.
Yeah, and it's a great conversation, Beam, because we can say that the look is different. We can say that the way that Ryan Day carries himself, talks about the program, manage the program is all different.
Schlegel says it's a blood transfusion.
And there's reality to that. Because if he had not won the national championship, would he be able to approach the game the way that he has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the way that he has throughout the rest of this regular season, that credibility was earned. That equity, that buy-in, everything else from the entire program is because his way worked when it mattered most to go play for a national championship. And I think the biggest issue when we've looked back at the last 4 games, and 2 of them I don't even think we should discuss, but 2 of them are real. And just thinking about the one last year where it was, was he coaching too tight? Was the pressure getting to him?
I think we can all agree that all of the coaches were coaching too tight.
Did he coach that game differently than he did others? Was he trying to prove a point about toughness or doing things that were antithetical to who he is or who the Buckeyes were, their identity as a team? And we can probably say yes to all of those things. And now Ryan Day seems to be approaching it this time saying, well, I went through the toughest 4-game stretch in the history of college football, won every single game doing it my way, my offense, my defense, my confidence, Ohio State's offense, Ohio State's defense, however you want to look at it. This program works. And if it's going to work against Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and Notre Dame, why would that not be applicable to the game? And I think he knows that now. That was the point we made a year ago, Beamer.
You lived it. You've experienced it.
You've gone through it. Like you're this, and Ryan Day has a way of putting it, which is that, and a lot of people, the sum of all your experiences. He's had some bad ones. And then after the worst one that he had in the rivalry, he had 4 of the best that he possibly could. Those are the ones that I think he's going to carry over into Saturday.
Absolutely. How much is Berm looking forward to going up on Saturday? Because I saw him in the offices earlier today, and he was already nervous. Haven't even gotten to Thanksgiving, and he's shaky.
Yeah. It's not great for him. I think by the time we get to Saturday at like 7 a.m., when he and I are hopping in the car to make that last hour or however long their traffic
not good
take.
if you've never been up there before. If you're going this weekend, take some extra time to get up there.
It's like they've never hosted a game before. They have no idea what they're doing.
Like the biggest stadium in North America.
You asked about Berm, but I'm going to spin it off for me. And I think I've done a great job as we've got to do more Buckeye shows this year and establish and call me a press box snob and say that that's what it is. I feel like I've embraced every moment this year.
You have.
And not complained.
You're a better person.
I've tried to look on the bright side. I will not say that about the Big House. They have no idea what they're doing. It is an awful experience. It's the least accommodating place in the Big Ten, maybe even the world. And I'm not looking forward to that part at all. So Berm's got the emotions tied up into the game. I dread going up there because it's just a ghastly experience. They don't know how to treat people.
Grizzly.
It's a grizzly maze.
Absolutely it is. Buckeyes and Wolverines coming up on Saturday at noon. Should be fun. We're all looking forward to it. Coming up next, we'll get into more of the game as we continue. It's the Buckeye Show right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
You can stream the game on your phone while you're gardening. You can stream it while you walk the dog. You can stream it at a trampoline park. You can even stream it at a monster truck rally. But the second you get behind the wheel, the game's over. Remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
2 guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same 2 guys drove home. One guy wore his seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Toyota-thon is on. Get in the spirit of the season with a new Toyota. Now through December 1st, get $3,000 customer cash on remaining new 25 Tundras. Or get 0.99 APR financing plus $1,000 TFS APR cash. With approved credit through TFS, excludes TRD Pro. APR cash must be applied to deal. And every new Toyota comes with 2 years no-cost maintenance. For complete details, go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
I love the neighborhood where I grew up, but it was tough.
Ohio State National Championship quarterback and former CareSource kid, Cardale Jones.
Football helped me find my direction, but I also needed the right support system. Seeing that CareSource heart around town, I just knew they had my back. That's the kind of difference they still make in neighborhoods like mine. This is so much more than health insurance. CareSource, today and always, trusted. Visit caresource.com.
Picture it, your holiday table, the family cooking together, the scent of golden brown bread, rosemary from roasted potatoes, and a salad so crisp it snaps, spiced cider in every glass, laughter around every plate. At Kroger, we know these moments matter, and we make it easier to bring them to life with quality that's affordable in every aisle. This season, don't just host, make every moment unforgettable. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Paul Keels here, voice of the Ohio State Buckeyes. You have to check out the brand new AAA Buckeyes MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA, such as 24/7 roadside assistance, plus chances to win tickets to Buckeye sporting events, access to exclusive MVP experiences, along with 10% off gear at the Ohio State team shop. Already a AAA member? Add the Buckeye MVP membership upgrade for free. Head to AAA.com/Buckeyes to join the squad and put your fandom in drive.
New creamy parm pizzas are now at Donato's. A decadent new sauce on 2 delicious new pizzas. Try the crave-worthy chicken veggie parm with roasted chicken, fresh veggies, and that rich creamy parm base. Or the savory bacon spinach parm, where smoky bacon meets fresh spinach for parm pizza perfection. Craving something different? Create your own creamy parm pizza today. Donato's. Gotta love more.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, getting ahead in this world is not as complicated as it might seem. Having the early guidance and counsel of your community banker, one who knows you and your family's story, can make a great deal of difference. Relationships matter. Bank on community banking. I'm Scott McComb, coming over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Oh, this week it's Rivalry Week, or as we like to call it, Beat Michigan Week, or Try Not to Get Pepper Sprayed Week. Rivalry Week sounds better. Let's go with that.
Rivalry Week on the Fan is sponsored by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers.
Ryan Day's proven he has what it takes to win a natty, but can he take control of the biggest rivalry in sports? Will Julian Sayin or Jeremiah Smith have a Heisman moment? Will the fan staff consume 500 wings in a single setting? Let's find out together. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Windy and cloudy and cold on this Wednesday before Thanksgiving, but for the most part dry. Temperatures only in the mid to upper 30s. Overnight will drop back down to the mid to upper 20s, and it will be brisk wind chills in the teens. During the day, Thanksgiving, mainly dry. Little sunshine possible late in the day. It'll be windy again with highs only in the mid 30s. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
Ryan Day's favorite radio show. Probably. Maybe. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Austin Ward hanging out with me this evening. Hopefully everybody's having a fantastic Thanksgiving Eve. Going to get you out to Nationwide Arena. Jackets hosting the Maple Leafs coming up here at 6:30. Game is at 7 o'clock. Austin, we got the Ohio State Buckeyes traveling up to Ann Arbor coming up here this weekend on Saturday. We talked about Berm's nervousness. We talked about the levels of stress that he has in his life, all surrounding this game right now. What do you think is going on? And I know what your answer is going to be for these coaches tomorrow, Friday, right? Like we're all sitting down, we're hanging out, you're eating some good food, you're drinking your favorite beverages, you're getting into political discourse arguments with your entire family. But what
really selling it.
But what do you think? I mean, what are these next couple of days where their team's out of the facility tomorrow? Maybe they're in it. I don't know.
Yeah, they'll practice.
Yeah. What is this like for them, the coaches, players, everything tomorrow, and then I think it gets a little bit back to normal on Friday.
Yeah, I'm actually, because I don't know the answer to this beam. They're trying to treat this week the same as we've established. The routine is the routine. But Thanksgiving is a wrinkle in that. And I know that they've tried to do things in the past where you can have Thanksgiving as a team. You have, if your family's in town, try and do this stuff together, get away, make sure you spend this time and appreciate that. So is that get changed any bit for Ohio State this week as they try to maintain that sense of normalcy? Wednesday practice got moved up a little bit. That's not uncommon for them to do that, though. If school is out, they try and take advantage of that time available to them, make sure that their players then have maybe an extra hour that they can rest or get into the training table. So I actually don't know the answer for how logistically Thursday will work because the team is still going to practice. They still have to get through those final preparations. Do they just have that full team meal in the Woody? Bring in a bunch of turkeys. I don't know how many turkeys you need to feed
a gaggle
that Ohio State offensive line, but I imagine it's a lot. So, you're trying to treat this game. It's for gold pants. It's to get to Indianapolis. It is to accomplish something that really nobody on this roster has. And not really. Nobody on this roster has.
It's been so long.
Some of the coaching staff has been part of wins over, the rival. They've been to Indianapolis before, but it's been, since 2020, since Ohio State has won that Big Ten championship. So, they're not going to leave any stones unturned. They're not going to say, it is a holiday. It is Thanksgiving.
We're taking the day.
Let's just get out of here. Let's just get the feet up and rest.
I don't think that the players in that locker room would want that.
Well, think about who we're dealing with here, Beamer.
Yeah.
We're talking like Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Lorenzo Styles, Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith. You think these guys don't believe in days off?
No.
I remember you and I talking
Neither does Bill Belichick, but that's a whole other story.
Do your job. But, Matt Patricia seems to be executing some of those beliefs at a pretty high level still, so it can happen, just not in Chapel Hill. But, I remember you and I talking to Sonny and Lorenzo way back in May, and it was like, you guys had a couple weeks after spring camp, get away, school's out. Yeah, we did it a weekend, but we still were working out down there on the beach, and we just got back. We've just been I've been back in the Woody. It's like
been in the lab.
It's a cliche, but they are married to the game, and they want to be great. It is why they're great. The process matters to them. So, the coaching staff is going to continue to be breaking down film, but I don't know how much more they can find at this point because, spoiler, a lot of the advanced scouts and GAs and analyst people have been watching the Wolverines for 3-4 weeks already. So they know every tendency that could exist. They know every counter that the Buckeyes want to make on Saturday. So some of that stuff is just, making sure you get as healthy as possible, rested. And I think they leave the Woody at 3:00 on Friday. They're flying up. You want to make sure that you've done all the work that you possibly can to be ready, but you also don't want to overdo it. So that's the balance.
Where are you at with the weather factor, right? Because majority of these games have been awesome weather so far. I know that Ryan Day was addressing it on his radio show earlier this afternoon, and he was like, hey, listen, man, we play in Ohio. We practice in it. I know that they were practicing outside all this week, Austin.
Yep.
I had that little comment, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe when UCLA was coming in. I said, why are you practicing inside? Let's keep it outside. Where are you at with the weather? Because until you actually see it happen and you do play in maybe some suboptimal conditions, you don't really know, especially what a guy like Julian saying from California, you get the wind whipping, maybe a little bit of snow. You just don't know it until you see it happen.
Yeah, I think that there's one coaching cliche that I believe in more than any other, and that is that the weather impacts both teams. And how much does it influence and affect your game plan? That's really up to the way that you've built your program and what your identity is. And we know that Ohio State is at its best when it is throwing the football and taking advantage of Julian Sain's accuracy and decision making and Jeremiah Smith's athleticism and Carnell Tate being elite and Max Clare and Brandon Innocent on down the line. It's important from that regard that Ohio State has shown the clear progress with the rushing attack over the last couple of weeks. But I think sometimes we do a disservice because we see and say how this impacts Ohio State and don't think about what the limitations might be for any opponent. That could have been Washington in September.
Sure.
Could be the Wolverines on Saturday. I know that I wouldn't want to be Bryce Underwood playing a Matt Patricia defense in the snow on Saturday. That doesn't sound like a good time to me.
I don't think so. I don't care what the weather is like. Playing a Matt Patricia defense in the way that they have operated through the first 11 games of the season, that doesn't sound very fun at all, regardless of the conditions. It could be 65 degrees, sunny. Pick your perfect, ideal day. It doesn't sound like a fun time to go up against this defense.
Yeah, and to compound that matter for Michigan, they've got a couple injuries that they're dealing with at running back. And so I view this version, maybe even more than the last couple of years, of the Sherrone Moore's offense is more one-dimensional than it has been. And that's I don't mean that as a slight or a knock on the potential for Bryce Underwood. He has had some moments where he's looked really dangerous with his arm, and the RPO game is a real factor for Michigan. They can do that. In terms of like drop back passing, that's certainly not going to be a strength, and I don't know if they can even protect well enough against Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson and Caden McDonald to keep him upright. But if they don't have the ability to operate some of that RPO because the weather conditions get really bad, and who knows what they're actually going to look like, that's even less predictable than the game itself. That becomes a huge issue for the Wolverines.
Yeah, they're helter skelter. Like they're all over the place, and their good is really good, but their bad is like mind blowing, mind numbing bad.
It was on display 2 weeks ago, Beamer, with the trip to Wrigley Field and the game against Northwestern. That is the game where in the first half, I'm like, well, Bryce Underwood is showing some things that it looks like he could maybe hit throws into the seam, or he could find the areas of the field where if there's been vulnerability for Ohio State, which is really nitpicking, well, maybe he could hit that throw. Purdue did that a couple weeks ago, and now Bryce Underwood's got, a couple guys that are looking like they're showing signs of life at wide receiver. And then the second half is, okay, as soon as you hit him or as soon as he makes one mistake, it's compounded, and they have 5 turnovers by the end of the game. So, I feel like Ohio State is better equipped maybe to handle some of this than they were 4 years ago or 3 years ago. But it'll also help, I think, that Michigan won't be stealing their signs and cheating on the other sideline of the field. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how that all plays out. But I'm not going to get too tied up in the weather. I think that'll be neutral for everybody.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State athletics. The Fan, Ohio